demonstrates that the act of observation is not a passive reception of information but an active process that is intertwined with the properties of the observed system. Reality, at its most fundamental observable level, appears to be probabilistic and relational, rather than fixed and independent of the conditions of observation. However, the distinctions are also clear. The Buddhist concept of illusion, Maya, is primarily concerned with the cognitive and affective delusion of inherent existence and permanence, which is seen as a root cause of suffering and a barrier to liberation. Quantum indeterminacy, on the other hand, is a feature of the mathematical formalism of quantum theory, describing the probabilistic nature of physical states and the outcomes of measurements, without necessarily carrying the same soteriological or ethical implications. A common thread that seems to run through both frameworks is the suggestion that reality is not a static, pre-given collection of things, but rather a dynamic process or a field of potentialities. Sunyata, particularly in its positive formulations as openness, or pregnant void, points to a ground of being that is rich with potential for manifestation. Similarly, the quantum wave function, before measurement, describes a field of probabilities, a superposition of all potential states a system could be in. It is the interaction or measurement that collapses this field of potentialities into a specific, actualized outcome. This shared emphasis on potentiality over fixed actuality represents a significant conceptual resonance. The Madhyamaka concept of prapanka, the conceptual proliferation or discursive thought that carves up an otherwise seamless reality into discrete objects and subjects, thereby reifying them, finds an intriguing, albeit metaphorical, parallel in how the act of measurement in quantum mechanics is often described as collapsing the wave function. In both cases, there is a transition from a more open, potential, or undifferentiated state to a more defined, apparently real, and individuated state, brought about by a form of interaction or conceptualization. While the mechanisms are entirely different mental conceptual processes versus physical interactions with a measurement apparatus, the structural similarity in this movement from a realm of broader potentiality to a specific actuality is noteworthy. Both perspectives imply that the solid and definite reality we conventionally perceive is, in some sense, a result of a process that limits, defines, or selects from a more fundamental, open-ended state of being. D. Methodological and epistemological considerations. While exploring these conceptual convergences, it is paramount to acknowledge the profound differences in the aims, methodologies, and epistemological foundations of Buddhist philosophy and quantum physics. Buddhism is primarily a soteriological path, aiming for the liberation of sentient beings from suffering dukkha through the cultivation of wisdom, prajna, ethical conduct, sila, and meditative concentration, samadhi. Its insights are often derived from introspective practices, contemplative experience, rigorous philosophical dialectic, and the study of canonical texts. Quantum physics, conversely, is a scientific discipline focused on explaining and predicting the behavior of matter and energy at the most fundamental levels. It relies on mathematical modeling, empirical observation, experimentation, and peer review to validate its theories. The nature of what constitutes proof or truth also differs significantly between these domains. In Buddhism, truth often relates to an experiential realization of the nature of reality, leading to transformative understanding and ethical development. Coherence within its vast and diverse philosophical systems is also a key criterion. In science, truth, or rather, the validity of a theory is assessed based on empirical verification, falsifiability, predictive power, and consistency with other established theories. Therefore, it is crucial to avoid category errors. Metaphorical parallels or conceptual resonances should not be mistaken for direct scientific validation of Buddha's tenets, nor should Buddhist philosophy be used to prove specific interpretations of quantum mechanics. For example, the oneness suggested by quantum entanglement, which refers to the correlated states of physical particles, is not ontologically identical to the oneness or non-duality experienced in advanced meditative states, which often refers to a unitive consciousness or the dissolution of the subject-object dichotomy. However, the fact that both frameworks, through vastly different means, arrive at conclusions that challenge conventional notions of separateness might point towards a common underlying principle of non-separation in reality, which manifests differently in the physical and experiential realms. The dialogue between Buddhist thought and quantum physics is most fruitful when it focuses on how both systems challenge deeply ingrained conventional assumptions and open up new conceptual vistas for understanding reality, rather than attempting to reduce one to the other or use one to definitively prove the other. When physics reaches its theoretical limits, such as its singularities or in grappling with the measurement problem, it often encounters questions that are inherently philosophical. Similarly, when Buddhist philosophy explores the nature of existence, consciousness, and causality, it formulates concepts that can, at times, find surprising echoes in the language and discoveries of modern science. Perhaps one of the most profound aspects of this interdisciplinary exploration is what it reveals about the human mind's capacity to generate such diverse yet potentially resonant models of reality, from the depths of meditative insight to the complexities of mathematical physics. The variability to perceive and articulate these parallels may point to underlying cognitive structures or a fundamental human impetus to seek and understand unity and interconnectedness in the face of apparent diversity and fragmentation. This suggests that a truly comprehensive understanding of existence might necessitate a synthesis, or at least a respectful and mutually illuminating coexistence, of different ways of knowing and inquiring. The following table provides a comparative overview to summarize some of the key concepts discussed. Table 1. Comparative overview of key concepts. Feature, theme. Buddhist perspective. Quantum physics